So guys, me and Sipo, we are
Let's go
back to
back through the
do
mists of time.
a
Through times when
tour. We're
Cork
on
was a
one of these
great
buses.
marshland hidden in a valley surrounded by hills. Indeed,
We
that's
are
what
on one
gave
of these
Cork its
buses.
original name,
There she
Corkig Moor
is.
na Moon, the Great Marsh of Munster.
And there I am.
Corkig means a marshy
So we're
place.
doing a
This marshy swampland
city
had a
tour.
handful of small islands
So
through
you
which
can
flowed
catch the bus
the River Lee.
on
Cork was once called the Venice of the North, as many of its
on
streets were originally waterways. The city built a reputation as a great centre of learning from its foundation until the 12th century, due mostly to the arrival of St. Finbar around 600 AD.
main library.
St. Finbar founded the church.
Hello guys, as you can see, this tour takes you at some iconic building and streets in Cork. It takes you around and the tour takes 30 minutes. Yeah, so we're gonna go to different places, and as you can hear the audio in the background, the voice of a lady explaining everything that they are showing people, you know. So I'm not gonna talk too much. I'm here with Sipokazi. Yeah, it's the first Cork tour bus, you know. And yeah, enjoy, guys.
With the North and South Gate bridges spanning the River Lee, protecting this small city enclosure until 1690.
With the medieval city on our left, Cork began
Below ground level are the only remains of the medieval walls that stood to our left once surrounding this island city. At the back of the park, there is a fountain with 8 swans, each swan representing 100 years of Cork.
Hi guys, again it's me. So what we're saying, the tour starts from the Grand Parade in the city center and goes all the way up to the English jail, Old Cork jail, up to the mountain, you know. So you pay €18 if you're an adult, and then something like 12 to €14 for kids over 5 years old, you know. But as for me, like I have a small child with me, my daughter is under 5. She's not even 2. Like the kids under 5, they don't pay. Okay, welcome to Cork and enjoy the tour.
Shandon on the left goes back to 1793, when this street was still a waterway. To our left, before Upper Lane, you will see the statue of the Echo Company, celebrating the city's many young newspaper sellers and their unique pride. Did you know that Cork was the first city in Ireland or Britain to have printed a newspaper? The Cork Mercury was printed in 1649 and distributed by Oliver Cromwell.
Opera Lane itself is one of Cork's newest streets and brings you to the Crawford Art Gallery and the Opera House.
The church building, gifting buildings to the city like the Crawford Gallery and so on. For such a strong brewing city, it's also interesting to note that the pioneer movement was also founded here in Cork. Father Theobald Matthew was known as the Apostle of Temperance, and over 150,000 people joined the alcohol-free movement in less than 9 months in 1838. It was his efforts to alleviate the effects of a cholera outbreak and the famine on ordinary people which were truly heroic. The city of Cork honoured him with this statue in 1884, simply known by Corkonians as the statue.
You can see the statue ahead and on your right, looking across the river to the hills and countryside of his day.
Channel of the River Lee over St. Patrick's Bridge dated 1861. It caused the shifting of the centre of commerce from the old medieval site of North Main Street and Shandon Street to this city centre island, because larger ships could travel no further. The bridge was designed by the famous architect and engineer Sir John Benson, who also designed the Shandon Butter Market and the Old Opera House. Rising up in front of us is the towering St. Patrick's muscle-testing incline of 25 degrees, made cycling over the French Pyrenees more like a walk in the park. Thomas McCurtain, the first Republican Lord Mayor of Cork in 1920. Ahead you will see the canopy of the Everyman Cork Palace of Varieties, and in later years saw stars like Laurel Hardy and Charlie Chaplin grace
I'm not
its
going to
stage.
talk too much because
Now it's a 650-seat theatre with a beautifully preserved
explaining
ornate
everything.
interior,
But
presenting a varied program of performances.
this one is disturbing me.
On your right is the Metropole Hotel, built the same year as the Everyman by. The hotel didn't apply for an alcohol license until 1956. It has been the home of the annual Guinness Cork Jazz Festival since 1978, which was the first year of the October bank holiday in Ireland. Now thousands of jazz lovers from all over the world come to Cork each October. At the junction of the traffic lights, look left to see Trinity Presbyterian Church, built in 1861. Its 140-foot spire is slightly crooked, and legend says the workmen fell out with the architect and did it out of spite. But more likely is that the fault was simply The next church on your left is the Catholic Church of St. Patrick. World-renowned Cork short story writer and novelist Frank O'Connor wrote about this church in his hilarious story, The First Confession. The little boy called Jackie was fed up with his old-fashioned grandmother's ways and used to imagine various ways of killing her. When he finally confessed all to the priest, he was rewarded with a sympathetic ear and a bullseye sweet, much to the jealousy of his older, pious sister. Coming up on your right is Kent Railway Station, which was opened in 1893. This is the only train station in the city and was renamed after Thomas Kent, one of the leaders of the 1916 Rising, for its 50th anniversary. Part of the film The Great Train Robbery was shot here in the 19...
Yes, guys, we're still on the Cork tour bus. Now we are near the train station. You know, yeah, so you're gonna visit few memorable monuments here in the city. And Sipoka is still there. She doesn't wanna sit. She doesn't want me to hold her, you know. It's a treat from me, but yeah.
Henry's grandfather emigrated from West Cork during the famine. The family stayed in Fair Lane in Cork City before embarking on their ship from the harbour in Cove. The Cork connection was so important to Henry Ford that this factory, opened in 1917, was his first factory outside North America, and for decades was the largest employer in the country, and also for a while the largest tractor factory in the world. Sadly, it closed in 1984. But the site is now occupied by many new industries and IT companies. This was the first steamer to cross the Atlantic in 1832, and its offices are the first limestone building on the right. It has a statue of St. George and the Dragon on its roof.
Which bridge is that? St. Patrick's Day. Okay. Eh? Are you enjoying? Okay, back to the city.
The original building survived the burning of Cork in 1920, but itself burned down in 1955. To the north side of the city, towards the Shandons, and was the main trading centre of the city from the 17th century. On this road there are two important American connections. On the left in Rowlands Lane, a plaque marks the home of Annie Moore. Aged 15, she left here in December 1891 to travel to New York and was officially the first person to be processed by the Immigration Centre at Ellis Island. There are statues dedicated to her at both the Port of Cove and at Ellis Island. While on the right, a plaque on the hill wall honours Mary Harris, who emigrated to America after the famine. She married and became Mrs. Jones and became a leading campaigner for children and workers' rights. By 1902, she was known as Mother Jones, the most dangerous woman in America. Rehearsal space in the loft above Dan Linhan's Sweet Factory. The company has been staging at least 2 full Shakespearean productions each year since 1924, while Linhan's remains the only surviving handmade sweet factory.
Four-faced clock in the world until the construction of Big Ben's Tower in London. Shandon steeple is known locally as the Four-Faced Liar because before it was modernised, the prevailing winds would move
Cattle Market Avenue, which was the site of the cattle market, and Fair Lane, which was where the Henry Ford family stayed before emigrating to America. Entrance drawbridge to the old medieval city. Now, for those of you sitting upstairs, please watch out for low branches for the next couple of minutes, as we will be passing under some trees.
the hill after it is named after his family. His distillery was situated below the hill near the river. Whiskey is no longer being made here today, but if you wish to see whiskey being made, ask your driver about the Jameson experience.
Jameson experience.
Look to your left so you can view the 3 spires of St. Finbarr's Cathedral off in the distance. The distiller, Mr. Wise, and the brewer, Mr. Crawford, paid for the 2 shorter spires, so they are known locally as the Whiskey Spire and the Porter Spire. Porter is another word for stout. Also designed by Sir John Benson, who designed St. Patrick's Bridge, the Old Opera House and Shandon buildings. He really made his mark on Cork in the 1800s, but this project didn't run so smoothly. After much of the stonework had been completed and the church was partially roofed, a severe storm destroyed the roof and blew down much of the stonework in 1853, and building a central music department. This was a fashionable area of the city for wealthy merchants to build homes. Many of the homes on the left have gardens stretching down to the river. We are passing along the rear of the houses. Each home has spectacular views of the river and city, while the fronts of the houses were accessed years ago by riverboats and ferries across the river. You may be able to see the river from upstairs, and you can also see the fronts of these houses from Fitzgerald's Park. Our next stop will be
for the jail. Please take care if you're coming down the stairs. as we are parked on a slope.
She was treated very well and was even fed strawberries and cream. This jail was open as locals prayed here and drank its water for its beneficial qualities. Church of Our Lady of the Holy Rosary of Fatima, formerly a Church of Ireland church, built in the Gothic Revival style, and the only church in the city where the Tridentine Mass in Latin is celebrated every week. This Latin-spoken Roman Rite Mass appears. When we pass over Thomas Davis Bridge, look to your right to see how the River Lee divides into two channels. Conditions are ideal for canoeing, with a municipal park called the Lee Fields nearby, hugely popular with walkers. On your left as we pass over the bridge is a white Victorian suspension bridge. This is a famous Cork landmark, known locally as the Shaky Bridge, due to its movement as you cross its 160 feet. And on your left now is the Mardyke Square. And just after it, the Mardyke Walk. About a mile long, this popular old walk features the gorgeous
Physiology and Pharmacology departments with a specialist cancer research unit. Before it was built, anyone coming here would be going to the dogs, as this was formerly the grounds of the old Cork Greyhound Racing Stadium. A new state-of-the-art stadium stands in Curraheen, to the west of here, and well worth.
It's around 1935. They boasted many modern conveniences almost unknown in the city at the time, like hot and cold running water, ensuite bathrooms, and central heating.
You can also ask about the special tours in honour of George Boole, the creator of Boolean logic, without which the modern computer revolution would never have happened. Boole is considered the father of computer technology. During the draining of the marshes, this area was laid out at the personal expense.
Really? You see her? She can't just let you enjoy the tour. She's like making noise and want to walk all over the bus, you know, which is not good.
And coming up on the right is Fens Quay. Ships sailed here after taking butter abroad, while others returned with spices, silks and wine. The wine vaults can still be seen at Tremoulant Castle in County Clare. The original building burnt down on Good Friday in 1891, and with it went much of the city's records. The facade survived though, and the building was restored.
Fujo, Mama Fujo. Where you could tell any on a
We now return to the Grand Parade, and on your left is Cork's famous English market. It's one of the oldest of its kind, trading as a market since 1788. Indeed, Barcelona's famous Boqueria market didn't start until 80 years after the English market first started to serve the people of Cork. This market survived the famine, revolutions, wars, fire and economic decline by adapting down through the years, and now it offers a larger range of produce than. It was listed by Lonely Planet as the top thing to do in Cork.
This is the stop.
If you look slightly ahead to your right, in the pedestrianised area, you can see the National